Welcome back to Good Morning Vail. It's been all about the ski races and you should definitely get up there. It might be a nice day for a picnic, and if you want a tasty dip and you have about an hour, I'm going to show you how to make a blue cheese caramelized onion dip or spread for a sandwich. Good morning to you. I am Tracy Miller with Colorful Cooking, and what I try to do is incorporate fruits and vegetables into every meal because we are supposed to have 5 servings of each per day. Yeah, that's right. So today it's some veggies, some onions, and then a whole bunch of fattening stuff. So it's going to taste really good. I'm not saying Colorful Cooking is always low cal. What we're going to do is start off with 3 cups of onions. Now I've been cooking these onions for quite a long time, but I just want to real quickly show you how I cut into the onion when I'm making them for these caramelized onions. So I bought a bag of the onions, so about 5 of them in there, and I used all of them. It turns out to be about 3 cups of onions. So I'll take off that first layer. And a lot of times when I'm cutting onions, especially on TV, I like to wear protective eyewear. That is in low light goggles because they actually don't allow all that sulfur from the onions to get into your eyes. So if you don't want your mascara to run, if you don't want to be crying, then you can wear your goggles or you can wear protective eye gear. So this is what we do. We take off that first layer, get all the skin off, just cut it in half, super duper simple, and then we're going to make these half moons. So you're just going to continue to cut all the way down. These are strong and I'm feeling them in my eyes, and when you feel those onions in your eyes, that means that they're really good for you. Onions are full of antioxidant properties. So right now during cold and flu season, you want to chow down on these babies. Okay, so here we go. I put 3 cups of onions in my hot pan with a little bit of olive oil. As they started to cook, I put 2 tablespoons of butter. They continue to cook over low, and I'm talking low, like you just have to put them on low. I've been doing interviews, I've been listening to Leo with the weather, Mark up at Birds of Prey, and just letting these sit here and cook. It smells so good in here, so if you're having a party or something, just cook some onions and tell everybody you did it homemade. What they have done is they've caramelized. That means their sweet natural flavors have come out and they're super delicious. I'm going to turn them off. They've reduced in size, and this was 3 cups to start off with. 3 cups of these raw onions, and now we have them caramelized. What I'm going to do now is add some tasty blue cheese, and I think this is when Leo wants to come in because he's been like drooling over blue cheese all morning, so come on down, Leo. I am going to use about 5 ounces of blue cheese. You say you're a big blue cheese fan.
Big fan.
People either love it or they hate it. So we're going to add, I turned the heat off. These are nice and hot and caramelized, so they're going to be really sweet. We're going to add kind of the bite of the blue cheese, and I want the blue cheese to melt a little bit with the onions. So I'm going to just stir those together. And then we're going to make a dip. So you can serve this. I'm serving it with red peppers today. It would be really awesome if you were serving it with apples. But I ate the apple because it was so good.
Couldn't help yourself.
Yeah, I really couldn't. So here we go. So this is good right here by itself. You could stuff a piece of chicken with this. You could stuff some pork with it or anything like that. But we're going to make a dip today because I'm going to head up on the slopes and I want something creamy and delicious. I'm adding sour cream.
Very
so
healthy portion of sour
cream.
No,
I told you it was not low fat,
no
right?
promises.
Right?
I
did say it was not going to be low fat today. So I'm going to add about 3/4 of a cup of sour cream and the same amount of mayonnaise. So you mix those 2 together to here. Why don't you stir those up a little bit? You mix those 2 together so that it's called cutting your product in culinary terms, which means you don't just have sour cream, you don't just have mayonnaise. You mix them together to kind of combine those flavors. But what's going to happen here is we have a heavy-duty creamy flavor. So I'm going to add a little bit of apple cider vinegar because remember I said it's going to be so good with little apples. And that vinegar is going to cut all that creaminess. So there we go. So keep stirring those. That's nice. I like your technique. I'd like to see you get under the onions a little bit better. Okay, there we go.
I'm trying to get deep.
When you are caramelizing your onions, you do want to sprinkle them with a little bit of salt as they're cooking. So here we go. The smells are good. You can smell that blue cheese, can't you? All right, would you please hand me that bowl? He's going to be our taste tester today.
That's
right. A little salt and pepper on here is great too. And if you wanted to blend it up and not have it quite so chunky, you could do that in your food processor. But I kind of like the caramelized onions just kind of being a little bit stringy and flavorful. I did cut the red peppers a little bit differently. They're not in those little strips usually they are. They're in chunks because this is chunky. So when you're kind of picking it up, you want to have a nice bite.
Absolutely. You know, Tracy, overcooking this, is that something you really have to worry about? I mean, what's the general time frame that you're looking
so those onions probably took me an hour. Like,
Okay.
I was just teasing him in here. He's like, it smells good. I love onions. I love blue cheese. It smells good. They really take a long time because you want to have them at a low heat.
Okay.
Overcooking them. If they get crispy, they're a little bit overcooked. You don't want that crispy in a caramelized onion.
Okay.
When you cook things slow and low, it brings out their natural sweetness. So that's why the onions kind of lose their snap when they're raw and they become nice and sweet.
Just like if you're cooking some chili.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
Yeah.
Nice, low and low, baby. And then you can also use this as a spread if you wanted to, like on a roast beef sandwich, it would be delicious, even on a ham sandwich. Or like I was saying before, you could stuff some chicken with it or some pork.
Ah, very
I
exciting.
actually served it with potato chips and carrots at a party, a private party I did on Friday, and it was well received, we'll say. Okay, so good blue cheese. If you're a beginner blue cheese eater, you can buy the conventional stuff from the grocery store. If you want that like burst of flavor from your blue cheese, then you can buy the really big dog with lots of that blue in it.
Well, that's great stuff. You know, with the blue cheese, sometimes you got to kind of ease your way into it if you're not
Exactly.
experienced with
Baby
it. So
steps.
that's some great advice with that.